Well, Sunday nights just got a little bit of their fun back. Welcome to the Rum Show 2.0. Coming up in tonight's packed rum show, we are going to be dissecting this week's cocktail, the Formidable Dragon. We're going to be changing a couple of the rums up and seeing how that affects the taste of this cocktail. We've got two fantastic simple serves, quick and easy simple serves, featuring two of my favourite rum brands, or two of my favourite rums at the moment, the Manx Boys with their Hurricane Hooligan and John and Gina's Goldstein, but their lime and ginger rum. We have got a daiquiri of the week. We're going to be dissecting and talking about last week's rums that I featured on my reviews channel. But coming up first, my takes on sugarcane juice rums so far. So I hope you enjoy these new semi-planned but totally unscripted shows that I've got coming up for you. They will evolve. We will be kind of doing other bits and bobs. I've got loads of ideas, but I kind of just wanted to bring all my favorite bits together in one Sunday night show. So to start off with, let's talk about, at the time of shooting this is the last week in July. This is going to drop in the first week of August. But my journey of sugarcane juiced rums so far: Agricole's, Martinique, Guadeloupe, Mauritius, various bits of Madeira as well, which you won't have seen. What do I personally think of sugarcane juice rums versus molasses rums, and what do I think I've gained from my journey? So, as I say, I personally have been in this filming journey now for, where are we, 8-9 weeks or so. Some of the rums I've had here for about 3 months or so. Have I turned it into a sugarcane juice rum fanboy? No. Have I fallen in love with certain aspects of sugarcane juice rum? Yes. Have I still got a lot of love for molasses? Yes. Have my perceptions changed of sugarcane juice rum? Massively. Okay. Before I came into this journey, we had in my old membership community, it's sort of disbanded, but the old membership community I sort of had, there was this kind of thing going on around baby sick, and that kind of, for all of you guys that are kind of used to smelling a Blanc Agricole rum, you kind of understand what people are talking about. And that was kind of my perception of that. I'd never really deep dived. A couple of rums that I kind of tried over this sort of journey. Before that, I was kind of like, oh, they're really decent, but never really properly immersed myself into cane juice. Now, if you're watching this for the first time, just a very, very quick recap. Cane juice rums are rums that has essentially come straight from the field. So the sugar cane is harvested, pressed, juiced, fermented, distilled. Okay, that is now that corner. Where are we? From there down to there. That is that. We've expanded. You can kind of, the regular viewers will kind of see a little bit of a change round behind the bar. So we've got sugarcane juice rums there. The rest of these rums are all molasses-based rums, which adds an extra step, essentially, or a couple of extra steps, essentially. They take the sugarcane that's grown in the fields. They then press it and juice it. That juice is then kind of goes through the whole process to kind of make sugar. Your granulated, your caster, your powdered sugar goes through that whole process of making that. And then you get the byproduct of making that. Once you've got your like white powdered or crystallized sugar, the whole byproduct, that sort of thick, gooey, black molasses sort of treacly substance, molasses, that's what all these from the Santa Teresa all the way down there and all the way across there, down to that whole bottom shelf, that is what they're made from. So there's a big distinguishment between sugarcane juice and molasses rums, okay? And just to bring this down, I've said this in a few videos, regular viewers, I'm sorry, but I know I'm going to pick up some new people watching this. To bring this right down, and the best way I've kind of found to explain this, think wine. Okay, think grapes with wine. We all understand wine. Rum is this so diverse category that people just don't really understand it. But if I can narrow this down to wine, you think every grape variety has got its own different taste profile, whether you're talking Pinot Grigio, Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc, Chenin Blanc, you know, without getting into the red wines, but we're just talking white wines. And you can have a different Sauvignon Blanc in New Zealand compared to a different Sauvignon Blanc in South Africa, compared to a different Sauvignon Blanc in California or South America. Even though that grape is the same or similar, you know, it's a Sauvignon Blanc grape, depending on the soils, depending on the location, the terroir, the topography, you know, the climate, they produce very different styles of rum. And that is essentially the same with cane juice rum, because there is nothing else to come from it. It is just cane grown in the field that is pressed and juiced and then fermented. When you're talking about molasses rums, and this is not a downer on molasses rums because I'll explain this, molasses rums, you're essentially distilling, fermenting syrup, treacle, without all of those nuances in the actual sort of distillate or in the base raw material, okay? So that's the big difference. Now, you might think that cane juice rums are superior to molasses rums. Cane heads will agree with that. Cane heads will be, yes, of course they are. They're vastly superior. Molasses fans will be in the other camp. Molasses fans will be, I just want Jamaican rum. Jamaican rum is so much better than Agricole, French Agricole rum. You know, there is no right and wrong. Despite what any camp says, you like what you like. But I'm just here tonight to talk about my journey and what I've found and where I am at this point in my journey. Do I love some cane juice, some Agricole rums? Hell yeah, I've found some absolute beasts. But am I a cane juice devotee now? No. You know, there are some rums for me where or some countries where molasses is vastly superior to some of the cane juice that I've tasted. And yes, before the cane juice heads come at me, yes, I haven't really gone down the big expensive, the brand, you know, the really expensive stuff, because that's not what my channel is about. My channel is about £50, $60, €60, rums under that. That's the playground I feel I'm playing in. There's a couple of rums that I haven't featured up here yet. Nissan and, well, three actually. Nissan, the HSE Parcelier, and the Dipaz VSOP. They haven't come out to play yet on my channel. They are now. Let's give you a close up on these. I mean, I love the Parcelier. The Parcelier knocks spots off the Clement Claim Blue, the Rum JM Blanc 50 really does. But that Nissan is just next level. That Nissan is by far and away the best Agricole that I've tasted on this journey. And I've had this now 3-4 weeks or so, playing about. I kind of wanted to kind of do a video on it, but then I kind of didn't want to spend more time in Martinique. You know, we needed to move on to Guadeloupe. We needed to get onto Mauritius. We needed to do a little bit of Madeira. So I haven't featured that, as I said in a few videos. I will come back to this. But that is just light years ahead of some of the Rum JMs and the Clements. The Clements are a fantastic brand. And without upsetting too many people, I think the Clement and Rum JM are probably the plantation of the cane juice world. You know, they make accessible rums, the entry level rums, before you probably go off onto more or not better, I don't want to say better distilleries, but more different flavor profiles, more, I don't want to say more, I don't want to characterize that, but let's just say, you know, you can I think Rum JM and Clement are fantastic entry points, absolutely fantastic. And I'm glad I did the journey how I did, because if I probably tasted that first off, I probably wouldn't have got there. But having gone through that whole journey, fantastic. Now, where has my passion properly lied through this journey? For me, cane juice, and this is, without upsetting some of the UK rums here, my passion for cane juice is purely gone into the blancs, the white. For me, with this one it will be a forever stock, the Rum JM Volcanic, Terroir Volcanic. That is a fantastic aged rum. But from what I've tasted, the Dipaz is fantastic, the VSOP as well. But even the what have we got? The Damoiseau, the XOs, the Ombres down there, the Clermont Ombres, the Rum JMs, the VSOPs, Rum J. So certain people will have, if those of you that follow me on social media will see me a few trips to Black Parrot tasting different rums that I don't actually own. Rum JM VSOP, Rum JM XOs, the Clermont XO. You know, I've been out and I've tasted all these rums. None of them for me, bearing in mind I have got that younger profile. I like younger aged rums. The Damoiseau XO is just a bit too much for me. We've got the Trois Rivières and the HSC XO. They don't light my fires. I would rather have Cuban rum. I'd rather have Barbados rum. I'd rather have some of the plantation rums. You know, there are so many other rums behind me that I would rather have than these. When it comes to those Blanc, those Agricole style of rums, wow, they are totally and utterly next level for me. Some of these, and these are fantastic. I mean, the Rum Chain, let's just talk about Blanc rums for a second. The only one that the two that sort of semi-compete with this are the Rum St. Barth. I've fallen in love with this brand, not just because of Michael Silvestro. Michael, thank you so much for doing what you did. That was a great chat, pre-chat as well that we had before we filmed. But the Rum St. Barth, I absolutely adore. And the thing that sort of blew me away from this is that completely different order here. I'm not sure how much of this came out in the actual video that you kind of comprehended, but this is exactly the same rum. Exactly the same rum. Just at different ABVs, a 44%, a 50%, a 68%, but exactly the same rum, distilled to 80, 90% ABV and just watered down, diluted down essentially to bottle kind of stuff. But the difference in profile is astronomical, just for the different ABVs. I had no ideas that these were the same rums. It was just totally lost on me. I just thought it was complete different canes, different distillates, everything. But the same rum. This is like a mint bomb. It is like menthol. It's just no escaping it. The 50 is sensational. Absolutely. You can see, you know, this is one of the rums that I'm going for that I just pick. I just love sipping that neat. And yes, as much as I love the Nissan and all that, this for me is just, that is my favourite. That is my favourite sugarcane, white Blanc sugarcane juice rum by a mile. You know, it's not even a competition. But it's just sometimes it's just got a bit too much on it for me to sip neat. And that's where that 50 Rum St. Barth comes in, because that is gorgeous. Absolutely flipping gorgeous. I really, really do like that. It's not quite got that sort of profile that what that has, but it's got lovely sort of tropical notes to it. It's got that lovely fresh cane juice. It's got that lovely silky texture to it. It's just a delight to drink. Whereas the 68 is just beast mode. It is fantastic. It's going to be a great sort of cocktail for me. You know, when you kind of think of the the Rain Nephew or what's the other one, the Rum Bar Overproofs, all right, they're pot still, these are column stills, but you know, it just gives you a different overproof vibe going into your cocktail. So like for like, I cane juice, when it comes to white unaged rum, I'm very much in the cane juice camp. Very much. There is not one molasses based rum, and there's a caveat coming here, there's not one cane juice based rum, white rum, that excites me as much as what these do. Okay, so yes, when it comes to cane juice and Blanc and unaged rum, I'm very much turned into that sort of realms. However, what is exciting me and what I kind of have preached about, and again, I know I'm going to lose some viewers, I know I'm going to lose some like real rum geeks in this and not going to appreciate and understand what I'm doing, but I'm just going to keep banging this drum, because people that disagree with me have not tasted and not giving stuff a fair shake, because what I am excited about is the British angle. And I dare say it, when the Australians get it, when we start to get some of the Australian stuff, when we start to get some of the US stuff, because they have got no tradition, because they've got no history, because they've got no, we've always done it like this, they are producing some fantastic, fantastic stuff. And just this, I haven't got it here as well. I've got the little samples. Which was that? The Funk Drop. It's not actually that rum. But Dropworks, Lewis, Sean and the gang at Dropworks and Ian and Rick at Outlier are producing fantastic, drinkable 63, 64% ABV molasses-based rum with so much character, so much oomph behind it. You know, do not think for 1 minute you can't drink these rums neat, because you can, and there is so much character to them. And they are light years, for me personally, ahead of the Caribbean stuff, because they are just doing things completely and utterly different. You know, there's no charcoal filtering, there's no filtering at all. You know, it's just distilling, different fermentation techniques, different molasses or different yeast strains, I should say, different distillation. I've probably already said that, but they are not close to flavour profiles in that sense. But what they do is they take everything I've got here, Barbados, Jamaica, St. Lucia, Guyana, Cuba, Venezuela, Dominican Republic, they take everything. Kit and Ninefolds is another one. Let's talk about the lower ABV stuff for a second, because, all right, this is 46%. We've got this. We have got John and Gina down at Goldstone. Do you know what? Even, I'm not a huge fan of Matuga in general, but even that Liv at 54.5% from that Liv is another brand. There is just so much flavour. St. Piran's, that's the other one. There is just so much flavour in these white rums compared to what you are used to with your stereotypical Barbados, Jamaica, Guyana, St. Lucian white rums. This is why I'm excited. And I want to emphasise again, no, they are nothing like cane juice rums. But for flavour, sipping any of these neat, I'm just so excited for the future of what the UK, the British Isles holds, because I think these are close. I keep bullying John and Gina. I really, really want that at a proper sort of higher ABV to kind of compete, because the Goldstone is cane juice, fresh pressed cane juice with molasses, with jaggery and panella, that's the word. Jiggery, pokery and panella. I really want them to produce a higher ABV rum, because that at 40 is fantastic, but I just know there is plenty more flavour to come out of that at maybe a 50 or a 55%. And to bring that up with like Lewis, Sean at Dropworks, there's some fantastic stuff. So my journey when it comes to cane juice rums, when it comes to yes, I'm in the white, I'm in the younger aged camp, and I love it. But when it comes to aged, there's only been a couple that have really taken my fancy. And this one, to be fair, to give it a fair shake, I really love the Rum St. James VSOP, but that Rum JM Terroir Volcanique will be a permanent stock. And that so far is the only rum that has spent time in a barrel, 3-4 years in a barrel and been aged from cane juice, that I've thought, wow, that is next level compared to all the sort of molasses-based rums that I've tried. Now I know I'm going to lose quite a few kind of... I don't want to use the word rum geeks anymore. I'm getting bored of the word rum geeks, but rum connoisseurs. Let's go for that. I know rum connoisseurs are gonna scoff. They're gonna look down the nose and they're gonna say, I don't know what they're talking about. I don't know what he's talking about. He's talking out of his backside. The simple fact is that the one skill that I do have is being able to judge mass market with my palate. I'm not, I don't profess to go off and be able to judge connoisseurs market, the 100, the 120, the 150, the 300 pound rums. I don't even profess to play in that playground. I would say I can tell its quality, but as beyond that, I'm pretty that much there. But you put me in a world that revolves around people, the average punter, loving something you put in front of them, And that is pretty much my skill set. I would pretty much, if I was stocking a bar now to make money at sort of semi-decent volumes, I'm pretty much backing myself that I know what would sell and what won't sell. And even that would be a struggle in that market because it's just too much. It's too much flavour. You know, if I was being brutally honest, then that is about the limit of what flavour people would be able to handle, because that is just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous in there. That, I love it and I adore it, but perhaps too much for this sort of normal market, if you like. So that's kind of my journey so far. Bearing in mind, I am 8-10 weeks into this properly. I'm not going to forget about cane juice rums now. We are going to have a break. You will have Madeira stuff coming. You will have what have I filmed? Mauritius stuff coming. You will have various other Haiti, Clarins and stuff. We might even go down to Cachaça. I'm not going to forget about cane juice, but I'm being brutally honest here. You know, I know there's fans in both camps. It's like whether you like football, you know, whether you prefer Liverpool or Man United. There will be this ongoing rivalry that's Man United's better than Liverpool. Liverpool's better than Man United. Man City's better than Man United and Liverpool put together. You know, AC Milan's better than Liverpool. This is ongoing rivalry. The fact is, there is no definitive answer. There is no 100%, because things change. People's palates change all the time. Rums change, you know, different. There is no definitive answer. I'm just purely going. I always put myself in the mindset of my target audience, which is rum under £50 or $60 US, 60 euros. And I pretty much backing myself to have that market nailed. I'm not interested in all the people that sort of spend 75, 100. I'm not having that argument with you guys. I'm not interested. What I do know is that if I had these two on a bar menu in a cocktail sipping neat, I'm pretty much guaranteed that both of those are going to have a lot of fans. Whereas that's probably aimed more towards the more connoisseurs level, if you like. But these two, probably at that level, have been my pick of the month so far. Rum cocktail inspiration time. You could call this a highball. It's a very simple cocktail. 5 ingredients. I'm going to shake it, but you could build this straight into a highball. The rum I have chosen for this, we have gone for the Manx Guys Outlier and their Hurricane 64%. Bold, woody, funky. It is a fantastic, fantastic rum. Absolutely adore this stuff. Combined with JD Taylor's Velvet Falernum, I'm still lucky enough to have a little bit of Monin guava syrup. You can get various other brands of guava in the UK as well, Real and ODK. The balance of this is perfect. I'll be sad when this goes. Stratford Soda's tropical soda, pineapple and coconut, and I've just got a little bit of lime juice in there, and I've called this one the Manx Guava Colada. So let's get this beast in a cocktail shaker. Because it's 64% ABV, you can dial this back even more, but I'm going for 45 ml, 1.5 ounces of that. And then we're going for our Falernum. We just want 10 ml, not too much. 10 ml of that. And then guava syrup. I love guava. Guava and rum is probably kind of my all-time favorite combination. I love it. Guava daiquiris, that sort of stuff. It's gorgeous. 15 ml, half an ounce of that. Then we're just going for 15 ml or half an ounce of lime, or you could use 2 wedges, half a lime, just squeeze it in. Plenty of cubed ice. Shaky, shaky. Then about half a bottle of the Stratford Soda tropical mixers, tropical soda, pineapple and coconut, low in sugar, low in carbonation this. So about half a bottle, about 100 ml. Strain into an ice-filled highball, then garnish with a couple of pineapple fronds out of my freezer, so I've always got them, and then a dried piece of pineapple. Manx Guava Colada, done. Flipping hell, that's dangerously good. You don't lose the rum, but you get that full body of the guava, the tropical citrus is in there. That is delicious. So now it's time to focus on this week's cocktail, and we're going to kind of take a quick look and see if there's any rums that we could have changed and talk you through my kind of thoughts on this. So the cocktail, if you haven't seen it on Tuesday, came from this. It's the Formidable Dragon, page 93 on there. 9 ingredient beast, but the rum essentially I used lots of lime, so I'll go through. Hopefully you've seen the video, but lemon juice, lime juice, honey, molasses syrup, Maro de Angostura, this stuff which is absolutely gorgeous. And then I forgot to put the seltzer water in, so I'm not going to do the seltzer water this time, so there's no soda water in there. But the rums, I just kind of want to talk about the rums. Now the cocktail is absolutely flipping delicious. The rums that I used, which you can kind of see here now, to be honest, nail it. You know, absolutely nail it. There is nothing about this cocktail I would want to change. I would quite happily pay top dollar for that, happily drink it, and probably have a second and a third one. That is absolutely gorgeous, and it's those molasses vibes with the dark rum vibes. There's subtle hint of overproof in there that just kind of works. Now, the one thing I wanted to do with these on Sundays is kind of chat through, give you my thoughts. There might be some recipes that I try from weeks to weeks where I think actually the rums I've picked haven't worked. So we might go down that route in a few weeks' time. But as I say, I pretty much nailed it. But the one thing I do want to do is actually try this with spiced rums, because there is a huge market for spiced rums. And Tiki, I know this won't probably translate into the US, because you don't have the abundance of decent spiced rums that we do. And yes, we have got a lot of excessively sweet spiced rums. I'm not going to argue that, of course we have. But we also have some really, really good proper spiced rums. Proper rum, for instance, let's just take Don Q, let's just take Chairman's Reserve at the end of it. You know, you cannot, even rum fans in all consciousness can't turn around and go at them, because they are just proper rum that has been spiced up to give it flavour. It's the heavily sweetened stuff, I get it. I'm totally with you, I absolutely get it. But when we come to the unsweetened, the proper stuff, there is a lot of playground, you know, there's a lot of rums to sort of play with here. Now there's a few directions I could have gone in this, looking at these rums. You know, we've got a sort of Jamaican vibe here. We've got the, pretty much, that's a fantastic rum. So cheap, but if you're looking for a Guyana, rich black Guyana rum for your cocktails, seriously, that's got to be, you know, I think it was like 18, 19 quid in the UK. So much cheaper in the US. If something happened to it in the US, I think it was the higher ABV version when we get, this is the 40% ABV version. But I just have no, genuinely, as much as I kind of love El Dorado, you know, it's not a go-to pick these days, but I generally have no need for El Dorado rum behind me anymore. Because the 12-year-old is great. The 15-year-old, I'm not really, you know, that's going to take me a long time to finish that bottle sipping neat. So the 12-year-old is a bit too expensive for cocktails. The 8-year-old is decent, but doesn't really offer me what I want. So, you know, if I get back into the 12-year-old, it's going to be there for a sipping rum. But the 8, the 5, you know, they just don't offer me what this does. This is a fantastic Guyana Demerara rum there. So that's how. And then you've got the overproof, you know, that Jamaican pot still funk kind of thing. Now, there isn't much I can do. So this is Martin Cate's. It was pot still lightly aged overproof. So pot still overproof, you are pretty much talking Jamaica. You know, even the higher ABV Rums and Bath is column. And even that is not going to have that sort of oomph that you would put in there. You know, so it would create a different style of cocktail. You've still got the ABV punch. You're actually more of an ABV punch, but you haven't got that sort of pot still vibe that goes into the cocktail. So you could go down that route. But what I kind of wanted to do, and bearing in mind all the ingredients are in there at the moment except for the rum, I kind of wanted to break this down because I still think you need a higher ABV in there. So I'm actually thinking plantation, because we do need the dark rum, and we do need the higher ABV, and we do need pot, and that's got a little bit of everything going on there. But I kind of wanted to play with a little bit of spiced rum as well. So I'm going to talk myself into one direction here, because You know, I don't know whether to go 100% Pusser's gunpowder proof, which is 54.5%. So bearing in mind that's 40. And we're talking, what, 80, where are we? So 30, 75, 82.5 mil of rum into this. I don't know whether I should just go all out Pussers or whether I should kind of mix it with that. My head just kind of really wants it to take it in a one rum route for this. Can a one spiced rum kind of mimic a cocktail and give it a different direction? And I think that's what I'm going to do. I would love to probably try this with plantation, but I mean, let's be honest here. You know, if you just did that, got rid of those two and used that, you would have a different vibe, but still a fantastic cocktail. Fantastic. Okay, because you have got high ABV there. You have got pot still, you have got Jamaica, Barbados, Guyana going on in there. So those two side by side are going to work. Slightly different, but they are going to work. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to Pussers route for this. Bearing in mind, 70 mil or 75 mil of this was actually 40 ABV. And the other sort of 7.5 was that. So I'm just going to play about with the ratio just very, very slightly and just flash blend it and see what we come up with. So with a little bit of quick calculations in my little brain, as I said, 82.5 mil of those three rums that we kind of used in there. I've gone for 60 mil of that because it is a higher ABV than the Appleton 8, than the Skipper. So instead of sort of 82, so again, we've effectively got 22.5 mil, but we've got a stronger rum in there. So how does the spiced rum, the Pussers, work in this Formidable Dragon? Do we get an elevated cocktail? Is that one going to be better because of the different layers, different complexities of rum? Or is this one going to be better because we've got that element of spice into it? Bearing in mind, we've just got a Demerara rum this time and no sort of Jamaican influence. Wow, that is so fascinating. So instantly, obviously, it's a sweeter cocktail. And that's not that heavily dosed. You know, we've got a little bit in there to round it off, but not much. What does Pussers gunpowder proof spice give you? It gives you lovely spice notes. It gives you a warming ABV. It gives you cinnamon, a little hint of extra orange that goes off in there. It just gives you spice. What you don't get from the Tiki, from that compared to the Tiki, is you don't get that Jamaican vibe. You don't get that kind of rich, robust Demerara vibe. You know, I actually thought it was the Muscovado syrup that actually really brought that cocktail to life. What it does, it plays so well with the rums that we've already got in there. So it's not just that that's coming to life. You can tell that alongside the Skipper, alongside the Appleton, that Jamaican sort of notes to the cocktail, that actually plays really, really well. Is this a great cocktail? Yeah, it's fantastic. I love it. I really, really like it. But the Tiki version, the 3 rum blends, edges it. I just love those layers of the complexity that the rums bring. Now, part of me is thinking perhaps I should have put a little bit of OFTD in there, but I don't think that would have helped. Perhaps I should have put a little bit of Jamaican in there as well. I don't know. There are so many different, you know, you could do a 6-hour live stream debunking one cocktail, different rum variations, different, you know, trying this, trying that. But it just goes to show that, you know, what Martin Kate has done with his cocktails. Some I love, some I don't. But that combination, and whether I hit lucky with the right rums, you know, you could even, you would probably get a different variation again if you used Eldorado 12 or Eldorado 8 in there. You might, I wouldn't say you get a different if you use Ray and Nephew over Rum Bar. That's going to be marginal in there. But again, it's just black, it's blended aged. It doesn't say Jamaican aged, blended aged. We could have gone to Barbados. We could have gone any of those rums down there. We could have even gone, you know, even though some of them are column still, a lot of them are still blended rums. We could have gone down that route up from the sort of Spanish countries. I think I've nailed that, and I would recommend, as I say, I don't know what rums he's actually used, whether he's used a Jamaican blended rum, and whether he's used a Demerara black blended rum. I'm pretty much guessing he has, probably Hamilton or something like that. But as much as I love that, the spiced rum, I love the nuances. I love the spice additions that brings, but I love the nuances that the rum, of the different layers, different complexity of the rum in the original. Rum Hiball inspiration time, and I'm so excited to bring this one to you today. The rum you haven't got a name for this, so you'll have to get in the comments below and give a name this drink. But the rum comes from the amazing John and Gina down in Goldstone, sort of Sussex near Brighton. Love this. This is their lime and ginger rum, actually distilled with a shed ton of limes and a lot of kilos of ginger. This stuff is phenomenal. We're going for some apricot syrup. We're going from Lushcombe's rhubarb soda, which is a belting. And we're just going to tailor that off with some fresh mint. So no need to shake this one. This can get built straight in a glass, and feel free to up the measurements as well. But I'm going for 45 ml, 1.5 ounces of the lime. It just pops a lime with ginger. This stuff is gorgeous. Now I've opted for an apricot syrup instead of an apricot brandy because I just like the little bit of extra sweetness that this brings, and I think it'll be more in tune to your palates. But 15 ml, 1/2 ounce of apricot syrup. Then mojito style, you just want to pick off 8 to 10 mint leaves. Remember, you don't need to muddle them. You don't need to bash the hell out of them. All you need to do, palm your hand, smell them. Lovely mint. Spank it. Mint on steroids. So 8 to 10 mint leaves in your glass. Now I'm not going for any citrus juice in here, lemon or lime juice. Feel free to add a couple of wedges of lime if you want to, but I just think the tartness of the rhubarb, even though it's not citrus, kind of balances this out perfectly. So these are 270 ml bottles. Half a bottle, 125, 150 ml, give or take, just in your glass. A little bit of ice just to start you off. Long bar spoon, mainly just to stir the syrup in, because the syrup will be a little bit heavier. And then just fill your glass with more ice. Remember, the more ice you have in your glass, the colder it stays for longer, therefore the less dilution you get. And then to garnish, nice old bouquet of fresh mint. Come on kids, what are we calling this? Lime and ginger rum, apricot, Lushcombe rhubarb soda. Give it a name. Seriously, if you're having a party, if you run a pub or bar, stick that on your cocktail menu. That will flipping fly out the doors. You don't lose that rum one bit. The lime and the ginger really comes through. The touch of the apricot just balances that out. But the rhubarb soda with a kind of a light rum, it's just gorgeous. So something else I wanted to try out in these shows is just a different daiquiri each week. So this is your daiquiri of the week. Basically, I want to showcase different rums. How do I like them? Do they compare to? Is my palate evolving? Have I gone away from column still rums now that I've done the summer of cane juice? So each week, I'm just going to make a classic daiquiri. And we're just going to change the rum each time. So I've got my lime juice just straight out of the fridge there. So I've gone 30 ml of lime juice there. I think the rum I want to do this week, I really want. Do you know what? I'm just going to do it. I've not actually made a daiquiri with this yet, but this is gorgeous stuff. And we'll go from different weeks. So this is the Rum St. Bath, Michael Silvestra's one, 50% ABV. So I'm just going to do a 60 ml double bubble of that in there. And we're just going to add a touch of sugar. Cane sugar. What am I going to do? I did 30 ml of lime, so I'm going to actually do 22.5 ml because we've got a 50% rum in there. So, daiquiri of the week. If you've got suggestions of what rums you want me to try out, or even, you know, we could go down the route of different flavoured syrups and stuff like that in the daiquiris. So what would you like to see? I've got the first few weeks covered, but again, feedback, what would you like from a daiquiri of the week? What do you kind of want to know? Do you want to know how the UK stuff compares to the French stuff and the Spanish stuff? How's it going to go? So let's just give this quick rock and roll. And I wasn't going to edit it, but I kind of left my strainer over there. So there we go. So good, shaky. This is the Rum St. Bath 50% ABV DAC. Cane juice daiquiris? Is it a thing? Should they just be for tea punches? Let's find out. There we go. A little bit right up to the brim. Oh, that's going to be a thumbnail in the making there. So Rum St. Bath, 50%. Oh, the aroma. There's unmistakable sort of cane juice, agricole vibes to that. You know, you're not mistaking that. That's bonkers. Oh, that's good. Oh my God, that's good. It gives you something. So it's column still. And this is my thing. You know, as I've got further into this rum journey, I've always sort of said I love the archetypal type of daiquiri. You know, clean, crisp, light, bright, column still rum daiquiris. They, for me personally, just give me something extra than a pot still. But obviously, these are column still rums. They are. They're just packed with flavour, packed with oomph. Oh, this is gonna be fantastic. I'm totally paying money for that. I'm totally having that. It's got this. It's light. It's clean. It's crisp. It's bright. It's everything I want. But the bit it gives me over a column like a Spanish style is that fruity, grassy, herbaceous, tropical fruity kind of vibe going on to a daiquiri. Oh my God, that's good. Oh my God, that's fantastic. It's the finish as well. The finish goes sort of pear. It's like, oh, pear drop. Wow, that's a success. Yep, totally a daiquiri rum, that is. There we go. Just to give you, because I don't think I'm editing in the Zoom camera, but there we go, just so you can see that. Rum St. Bath, Guadeloupe, 50% ABV. If you're a Man United or an Arsenal fan, if you're a football fan, just get behind Mikel Silvestre. That is quality daiquiri. So let's get on to the last part of the show, and that's just giving you an overview of last week's rums. So not the rums that came out this week, just gone, but the last week's rums. And actually, this is a great point to start because I didn't really give, because these were interviews online, I didn't really give like proper tasting notes and stuff like that of how we compare. So first off, as you can see, we've got Damoiseau from Guadeloupe. And Indy very kindly came on and was chatting about the sort of core range and then the oranges. But we started off the week with, I've already sort of focused on these, so I won't talk about these too much, with Mikel Silvestre. So, look, where do you go if you want a rum from Guadeloupe? Which direction should you go in? Now, I'm going to talk about the oranges in a second, so ignore the oranges. Let's talk about the sort of the proper, normal rums, if you like. So, brutal, honest opinion, the Damoiseau 40, it's decent. It's for me personally, sorry Jazz, Chet and Indy, Skylark, for me personally, it's not competing against the Martinique. It's just decent. But I think that's me. As I've said time and time again, I think I've kind of fallen down the trap now where I kind of want higher ABV stuff. So a 40%er doesn't cut it for me at all. All right. Now, 40% in that, again, I'm not the hugest fan of that because that's just mentally just kind of, it's not me. I'm just not. It's going to have a lot of fans, but it's just really, really not me. It's too much mint, too much. They say earthy and that sort of stuff. It's just menthol. It's just a menthol kind of, not bomb, but there. So the 40s, well, 44% in that, I'm putting to one side. We get up to the 50s. Now, this is actually pretty decent. If I hadn't, and here we go. Now, if I hadn't had the 50% Rum St. Bath, I would say that is banging. That's really, really good. However, for me, the 50% Rum St. Bath just slightly edges it. But that is a great, great 50%. You have to imagine, well, you have to kind of remember that Guadeloupe is also a different vibe from Martinique. So is that comparable to me, to a Nissan, to the Parcelier, to the Rum JM 50? I would actually, for me personally, right, here we go. For the Clément 50, the Can Bleu from Clément, not the single vintage, but the normal Can Bleu, and the Rum JM 50, I probably would actually prefer the Damoiseau. That's just got a lovely flavour to it. It has. So I'm totally in that camp. However, for me, because I had that's just even a next level oomph over that for me. Bearing in mind, they're all the same 50% ABV. Okay, so that's kind of where I sit for that. That's not bad at all. That is fantastic. As I said, I would have that over Rum JM, Clément 50, Can Bleu, normal sort of release. I would have that all day long because I really, really enjoyed that. But that just got me a little bit, oh, that's tasty. Really, really, so easy to drink as well. So easy. So that's the sort of 50% ABVs. There is no sort of comparison Blanc-wise to this 68. All I would say, you know, that is now, you're getting up to stupid 52.2 for the Nissan, 55 for the Parcelier, and 68 for this. They were just completely different beasts. I adore that. Really, really nice. Would I have it over those? Again, it's a different beast. You know, 68, you can't compare a 68% to a 52.5% Nissan. You just can't. So again, a very different beast. It's definitely worth a try. It's definitely one for cocktails. Love it. There we go. Now for these, as much as I've found with, and this is a generic kind of Martinique and Guadeloupe, sort of, as I said earlier in the video, I have been to Black Parrot a few times and tasted different rums that I don't own, the VSOPs, the XOs. I'm just underwhelmed by the vast majority of 43% aged sugarcane juice rums. They're just like, yeah, they're all right, you know. Underwhelmed by that. The same, it's no better and no worse than the Clément Ombre. It's no better or no worse than the Clément Select Barrel. They're decent rums. But I've now been spoiled because I much prefer the Blancs. And actually, if I'm being brutally honest, even that XO doesn't, for me, compete with the Terroir Volcanic. It just doesn't compete. And I prefer that over the Rum JM VSOP and the Rum JM XO. That, for me, is a stunning, stunning rum. So that's how they sit. They are fantastic rums. I'm not gonna deny that. They are great rums. Banging price point as well. Yeah, I mean, I've got the Deephouse VSOP here. It's not I'm not gonna compare that to that. You've got extra age, you've got that. It's fantastic, and this is going to have a lot of fans. I just can only guide you by my palate, and as I've said time and time again, I do prefer younger aged. I want to taste the rum. I don't want to. That's where I'm about. I'm not one of these people that likes rum that's been heavily influenced by a lot of aging. I like to taste the rum. That's just me, my opinion. Okay. And I know that divides opinion, but there we go. So for me, they lose it after they've been in barrels because I would actually rather have that over both of those two. Just that's me personally. So that's how I'm trying to guide you. I'm not trying to put you off those. If you understand my palate, you'll perhaps understand your palate a little bit more. However, we get onto the Damoiseau Oranges. Flip me. These are, wow. The only thing I would love to try these at a higher ABV. These are 30%, so they're effectively liqueurs. But they, you know, they are proper fruit in there. You know, look at the fruit content. They taste fantastic. No other rum, no other passion fruit, is that passion? Yeah, the passion fruit and mango. No other passion fruit and mango rum you buy will ever taste like that. No other coconut rum will ever taste like that. No other guava rum will ever taste like that. No pineapple rum will taste like that. Is it better than the Plantation? I'm not sure which one's coming out here. Knowing me, it'll probably be the one I don't like. No, we're good. We're good. I've got the what's the other one? The whiskey barrel one, the smoky one. There we go. They are different. They are different. Yeah, similar because that is obviously used fresh pineapple. It's gone in there, but it's a higher ABV. You know, it's then been sort of filtered to obviously get rid of the pineapple and stuff. Whereas that's the pineapple's in there. So, and you've got a vanilla pod in there. So they are different. For me, you cannot compare them. So I would have both alongside each other. You know, it's just how I am. I can't have that. I can't not have that. And I can't not have that. But my favourite, if you were just personally, and it's so hard because everyone's got a different palate. If you were personally just wanted to try one rum, the guava, or how do they say it? Guayave rose. So red guava, rose guava. Fantastic. These are fantastic daiquiri rums. And you can pep these up with a little bit of the 50, that's the 50. You can make daiquiris with a little bit of the extra ABV from the 50. That's fantastic. That's next week. Next week's daiquiri of the week, maybe. Should have been this week's, to be fair, shouldn't it? So you can do all kinds of these things. You know, they're fantastic. So that's my overview from Guadeloupe, essentially. And this will change week on week. But yeah, my star picks from Guadeloupe, from the rums that came out. Actually, if I could only have two, if you had a gun to my head and I could only have two, Rums at Bath 50 and the Guava Damoiseau. That's it for this week. I will see you next Sunday.